Yes, there was a busty lady. No, that will not be going in the video. So we got a recent video that I wanted to talk about and react to in regards to the recent lawsuit for patents with... God, Nintendo, why are you so fucking retarded about patents and game mechanics? Okay, that's wrong. I'm not saying that Nintendo as a whole, as a company, is retarded, but they do have a very unique way of looking at content in video games, and that makes them retarded. If you know, you know. So we're gonna be watching that.
Have you seen the all-new iPhone 17 Pro?
Once the ads
Get it
are
today
done.
with Vodafone Exchange and get a new...
On Tuesday, I released a video discussing how I had finally discovered a way, after several months, that we can actually go after Nintendo and fight back against Nintendo filing all of these allegedly fraudulent patents, the patents that are at the center of the Power World versus Nintendo, the Pocket Pair versus Nintendo case, and seem to me, at the very least, and to many of us, to be crazy, either too broad or too just trying to patent a genre or a concept.
Anyway, keep in mind, there could be a possibility that we will never see another Digimon game because Nintendo decided to take the most retarded idea possible out of their brain just to harass Pocket Pair. This is why I will be adopting a Chillet next and not a Pokemon, Devin, my not-so-good bitch!
Or an idea, something that I don't believe should be legal. After many, many months, I had found a way to actually go after them. And that way is really two ways. I only covered one in the original video, but it's two ways. There's something called a post-grant review and an inter-parts review. A post-grant review is something that a third party is allowed to apply for within 9 months.
Okay, I gotta read this. I know I'm not an attorney at law, but I gotta read this. This seems like very important jargon. A post-grant review. A post-grant review is a trial proceeding conducted at the board to review the patentability of one or more claims in a patent on any ground that could be raised under section, I think it's section, I don't know. Again, I don't know my not political. Blech. That Storm brought in digital ID anyway without the petition. You can tell how I feel this morning. Anyway, let me properly read this. A post-grant review is a trial proceeding conducted at the board to review the patentability of one or more claims in a patent on any ground that could be raised under Section 282B/2 or 3. Post-grant review process begins with a third party filing a petition on or prior to the date that is 9 months after the grant of a patent or issuance of a reissued patent. The patent owner may file a preliminary a preliminary response to the petition. A post-grant review may be instituted upon assuming that it is more likely than not that at least one claim challenged is unpatentable. Woo! Nintendo are fucked. Anyway. If a proceeding is instituted and not dismissed, oh boy, a final determination by the board will issue within 1 year, extendable for good cause by 6 months. The procedure for conducting post-grant review took effect on September 16th, 2012, and generally applies to patents issuing from applications subject to first inventor to file provisions of the AIA. Meaning Square Enix can do a post-grant review on this bullshit. You got served, Nintendo! You got served, Nintendo!
Of a patent being granted, and an inter partes review is something that a third party is allowed to apply for after 9 months of a...
I know I interrupted him, but I gotta read this. Because it's important. An inter partes review is a trial proceeding conducted at the board to review the patentability of one or more claims in a patent only on the ground that it could be raised under Section 102 or 103, and only on the basis of prior art consisting of patents or printed publications. For first inventor to file patents, inter partes review process begins with a third party, a person who is not the owner of a patent, filing a petition after the latter of either 1. 9 months after the grant of the patent or issuance of a reissued patent, or 2. If a post-grant review is instituted, the termination of the post-grant review. These deadlines do not apply to first-to-invent patents. The patent owner may file a preliminary response to the petition. There we go! Anyway. An inter partes review may be instituted upon showing that there is a reasonable likelihood that the petitioner would prevail with respect to at least one claim challenged. If a proceeding is instituted and not dismissed, a final determination by the board will be issued within 1 year, extendable for good cause by 6 months. The procedure for conducting inter partes reviews took effect on the same date as, the post-grant reviews, and applies to any patent issued before, on, or after September 16th, 2012. The fact that Nintendo said that mods don't count as prior art. The beaches doth protest a bit too much. Anyway, moving on.
Patent having been granted. Now, one of the big differences between a post-grant review and an inter partes review is a post-grant review can be done for essentially anything that is a reason why a patent shouldn't be granted in the first place. So this covers things such as prior art. Did something like this exist before the patent was applied for by someone else? If so, prior art exists, you can't patent it. Obviousness, is this something that someone with a reasonable level of skill in the field that the technology that is being patented is in would be able to create, in which case you can't patent it. You're not allowed to patent a lever, you're not allowed to patent a pulley, something like that, or you're not allowed to patent something that someone would obviously be able to create on their own. Lack of clarity, if the patent is not clear on what it's patenting, which in a way I would almost go for the wording that's being used in a lot of these Nintendo patents seems almost intentionally confusing and intentionally hard to read. So I would almost say that might be a case or an argument that could be made. That's not one of the arguments that I would rely on in this case. Or a lack of descriptiveness, essentially, or several other reasons, but I'm going to stop there. Lack of
Sorry, I got an email from Good Old Games. Hey. You love to see it. You love to see it. Also, don't mind the support staff. We're just doing their own thing. We're just kind of chilling. We're just kind of vibing.
Descriptiveness would be something like, would it allow someone to read that patent and understand how to make the thing that is being patented? If not, then patent shouldn't be granted. And that might be something too. Someone that's familiar with the field, that might be something too that can go after. And an inter parts review is just prior art and obviousness. That's all you're allowed to do in prior art is prior arts and obviousness. I'm going to go over where we are in this. And I'm going to go over the steps that I'm going to be taking and that I would appreciate your help in taking in order to make this happen. One of the first steps that we need to do, one of the first steps that we need to figure out is already done. Because the first step is figuring out which one of these we can do. Basically figuring out if we have the standing in order to do this and which ones we have the standing to do. And the main factor there is we are a third party. I am a third party. I am not engaged in a lawsuit with Nintendo over these patents. So I have standing here. At least from my understanding. If something crazy comes up and it turns out I'm incredibly wrong here, I will release a follow-up video and I will find someone who has standing and I will get them to, or I will try to motivate them to. And part of that is finding out which one of these to do. So
honestly, we gotta send Ron Coleman and Legal Mindset on this stuff, because DI messed up stuff for everyone, man. And not only that, the world is in shambles right now, and I don't like it. I do not like. I don't like. Also, you can see my avatar kind of messing around a bit. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. Yeah, this is getting annoying. I'm sticking to the Eevee. I'm sorry. I gotta stick to the Eevee. Okay. There we go. Yes, I will, because... Oh, yeah. Not cussing. I mean, I do cuss, but... Yeah, I am cutting out some things that will be considered obscene material for obvious reasons. Including my new tablet wallpaper. You know, I might need to change that in case stuff like this happens again. Okay.
And part of that is finding out which one of these to do. So again, a post-grant review is within 9 months of the patent being granted, and an inter-parts review is 9 months after a patent has been granted. So let's go over the 4 patents that I'm looking at right now. These are the 4 patents that are kind of central to the Power World Nintendo lawsuit. Now that lawsuit is happening in Japan. We can't go over, at least in this way, we can't go after those patents, but they have some of those patents also in the United States. So trying to fight them in the United States at the very least will stop the lawsuit from hopefully being brought over to the United States as well, and might help establish some sort of precedent to at least enact some level of change and help this out. The first patent at issue. And now this is not one that is currently being used in the lawsuit, but is one that could very easily be used in the lawsuit if they bring it over here. It is US 122. How many twos is that? US 122200638 Bravo 2. That is the patent for throwing an item that affects a field character and providing data about success rates. Effectively this right here. You see that? I am gearing up to throw this sphere at this Chickapee. I have a legendary sphere, so it's telling me I have a 100% success rate. Bam. That's what that patent is for. There's also patent US 1240339 Bravo 2. That is the patent that we have all recently become aware of. That is colloquially being referred to by a lot of us as the patent for the concept of a creature capture game. It's a patent that talks about summoning a sub-character, that sub-character moving automatically and independently from your command, and following you, and then engaging in combat if it needs to. That's what that patent is for. Now, the first patent, I skipped a step here in what I was planning on doing. I'm so sorry.
Honestly, this is fair. Mainly because, obviously, God damn it, unstable connection. Sorry, are you guys still here? Yeah, no worries. But yeah, I think it's safe to say that that is a very obvious point that we need to sort out. Because that is not okay. So far, most of us have been looking at the official patent that was posted online via GameSpree. Now, some people say, for the most part during that time, it was something that we didn't worry about, something we should. People were arguing over the patent and how serious it was. But trust me, it is that serious when you really think about it, because all monster taming games are gonna be gonzo because Nintendo wants to be greedy. Well, I'm putting my foot down.
The first patent was granted on February 11th, 2025, which means we have until November 11th, 2025 to file a post-grant review. After that, it would have to turn into an inter partes review. Patent US 1240339 Bravo 2, the one about the creature capture game genre, was granted on September 2nd of 2025, very recently, which means we have until June 2026 to file a post-grant review. US 1240938 Bravo 2, that is the one that is about the smooth switching of characters, the one that a lot of us originally thought was kind of talking about the riding mounts, the fact that you can take this Van Worm. It is now in a ground state. It's on the ground. It would have been better if I had a Frostallion here because it looked more obvious, but it's on the ground and now it's in the air. A lot of us thought it was about that, but it seems like what they're going after and a lot of what they're trying to focus this on is this. I am now gliding. That is the thing that it seems like they're going after. That one was granted on September 9th of 2025 in the United States, which means we also have...
You little shit, Nintendo! You bunch of little shits! Gliding mechanics have been around a lot longer than your stupid ass games. Shout out to my homie Knuckles. Anyway.
Until June 2026 to file a post-grant review for that. And unfortunately, US 1217911 Bravo 2, which is throwing an item that has an effect on a field character. You're not allowed to have grenades anymore. You're definitely not allowed to throw spheres that capture things anymore. That one was granted on December 31st, 2024, which means we cannot file a PGR, but we can in fact file an inter partes review, and we can do that right now if we wanted to. So that step has been done. I have already figured out which one of these we can do and how long we have until do them until we have to switch. And there's the thing too, a lot of the data I'm going to be focusing on is the stuff that would work for both of them. That way, even if for some reason it takes too long to get this all together and we can't get started, we can still go forward. We'll just have to change which one we file. Step 2. This is the step we're at right now. This is correlating data points. What we are doing and what I have requested you guys help me with in the past is finding as many data points from printed publications, that way it works for the IPR, as many data points from printed publications of prior art exhibiting these mechanics, and specifically exhibiting the mechanics the way that they are explained in the different claims. I'm going to go over that in a second. This is where I need your help. I could do this. It would take me a lot of time, and I would probably miss stuff because I wouldn't know, or I wouldn't have the knowledge of something that you guys might have knowledge of because I never played the game or I never saw that, and it'd just be annoying to search for, and I don't want to miss anything. I want to have as much data as possible for this. I want to be so overwhelming with data that they can't deny it, kind of thing. I want to have to be trimming stuff just to make it palatable. That's where I want to be with this.
Honestly, I'm gonna leave it there, but I will be linking the full video in the description for you guys to check out. So, yeah. Those are just a couple of examples, or at least one example, of how we can fight back against Nintendo being greedy with this lawfare. So, be sure to check that out. I'll leave a full link to the video in the description below. Anyways, I'm gonna end the stream here. Not stream. Video. Damn. Oh well. At least we got screen capture back, so I'm happy. I'm happy. Anyway. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Subscribe, and remember, stay funky.